and we're going to be bringing you Cheese Lover versus Fant, which is going to be coming from the Sunken Glades group, and this is also the second to last matchup in that group as well. So we're rapidly coming to the end of the matchups in the group stage. We've actually finished 2/3 of the matchups, and we scheduled 4 weeks for this group stage. So we're going to a little bit of a quick clip here.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's just been super excited about it, and I've been loving that personally. It's really great to see the passion of the community put forth into this tournament.
Definitely. So looking at the standings of the group that I just mentioned that I just lost, Sunken Glades, there we go. So this match between Cheese Lover and Fant, it's a 3-4 matchup between the third and fourth seeds in the group, that is. Cheese Lover coming in with an 0-1 record. His only match so far was yesterday. That was his first match of the tournament. And Fant is coming in with an 0-2 record. What do you expect to see during this upcoming match, Hobbs?
I actually can't choose this one. I think if Cheese plays a lot better than he did last time and has practiced some and stuff, but he should hopefully be able to win this one. Like, that's what he's thinking. He's coming in at the better time. His PB's at 38.16 if all of our information is correct, and Fant's PB is sitting at a 42.56. However, Fant goes for quite a few strats that we wouldn't expect out of somebody with a 42.56 time. He goes for things like fast stompless and does a lot of kind of more risky stuff that if it manages to kind of just all come together for him, then he could potentially end up winning this race.
Yeah, that's true. You never really know with strats like that, and runners whose PBs haven't quite reached that sub 40 level or even like the sub 38 level. The reason is usually because there's just that lack of consistency and lack of confidence with some of those strats, because it takes a while to develop that. And so for a runner like Fant doing those strats, they could very easily pay off really big, and he can PB by like multiple minutes, or they can not pay off and he can end up with, like a 45 or a 46 in the race. His results so far, he's been able to come up with a 43.03 against Raziel and a 44.41 against Brynhold. And of course, in one of those matches, he was plagued by some health issues, so he was not having the best time. Cheese Lover, meanwhile, has had a 41.58 against Raziel, and that's his only time so far. So in the tournament performance, slight advantage for Cheese, but I guess we never really know.
Well, and again, Fant's someone who has only been running this game a little bit longer than any of our 12-hour challenge participants, and I think he has been improving at a pretty good rate, a pretty constant rate, not necessarily the most drastic we've seen in the tournament in terms of getting very low times very quickly, but he's been constantly improving his time by small margins over and over and over again, almost every day. So that's why I think there's potentially a really good race here. His summa best is a 38.08, so that is about almost 5 minutes off of his personal best. So it's really kind of a toss-up to me. I mean, it would still rely on some poor play from Cheese, I think, for Fant to win. But, I mean, we just saw a lot of poor play from someone who was expected to win theirs by a large margin. I'm getting some updates from our secret truck guy that he's not too happy with me right now. So
yeah, we got
out of that, but I gotta bring it in to hype up the race, man. I think it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think so too, and I will be very interested to see whether we get some of the early game slop or not. Oftentimes if we see that one of the two runners is able to pull off a very solid wallet jump segment and a solid enough dash segment, getting through those two areas of the game without like any major mishaps, that really ups your confidence, and you're able to just say, you know what, I can play this game. I can not mess up. And things kind of only get easier in a sense as you get more and more abilities. So maybe we'll see that, or maybe what we'll see is one or both runners will have some issues early on, and then that will kind of get things rolling, and it will be a bad time. I'm certainly hoping for the former, where both runners just have a really good performance with a moderate number of mistakes, whatever, kind of they normally have, but managed to show us a good race here.
Yeah, absolutely. You always want to see the potential for a PB in these tournament races. It looks like we're starting to get pretty set up. I think we're going to be chilling here with everybody for a few more minutes, so that way we can line up with our originally scheduled race time of 11 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go through some of the questionnaire responses we got from some of these guys too. Just remind people who haven't seen any of their previous races. I know Fant is a controller player. I believe he plays on an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One controller. And it's something that I don't think he uses too many binds, but he does have a few. And then Cheese, meanwhile, is actually a keyboard and mouse controller. So that we could potentially see some differences there, some more double dashes out of Cheese. Fant going for some more adapted strats to make controller more comfortable. And as far as what we'll be seeing in terms of certain skips and stuff, Fant has drastically added more and more skips to his list since he started the tournament. He thought originally he wasn't really going to go for much, and now he's added on a ton.
Indeed. And I do want to call some quick attention to Fant's to two things, but first, the Fant's response. We in our questionnaire we asked what their goals were for the tournament, and Fant not one to aim low, I guess. His posted goal is take out Hetfield in the finals and get the world record in the process. So shooting high a little bit. I think that I like that kind of eagerness or confidence. Meanwhile, the other interesting thing to note about Cheese Lover is he came to the Ori community as an any percent runner using Ike Wolf's tutorial of that category. And any percent is, we talked about this really briefly during Cheese's first race, but any percent is a very different category from all skills. But at the same time, there's a lot of the same things like movement that are kind of involved, at least for the early part of the game, that might give Cheese a leg up in the first, say, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Cheese will hopefully just be kind of playing his slow and steady run, try to do a bit better than last time, but not necessarily go for anything too risky. He doesn't appear to be going for things like the early Moon Grotto cycle, which has a low potential for death, but still does have that small potential and is something that takes a long time to learn. Whereas Fant, I mean, maybe we'll see him fly really close to the sun and hopefully not get burned, but it is a potential problem when you're trying to take out Hetfield after learning this game in 2017. So it's going to be interesting.
Indeed. And the other interesting difference between the two, actually, that I just noticed is Cheese is going to be going for 5 HP, whereas Fant is going to be going for 4, which is really interesting in the comparison between a runner who is actually more experienced in Cheese Lover versus a less experienced runner in Fant.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's potentially just based on how each runner learned the game. Like you said, Cheese came from any percent, so he was already pretty familiar with the community and familiar with the game itself, so he may not have gone directly for a tutorial when learning the game, right? He may have kind of just watched other runners and gone, okay, I know what all these tricks are, now I just need to kind of commit it to memory and practice and put it into the run. Whereas Fant came in totally fresh. He hadn't seen this game until AGDQ 2016, as far as I know. And he came in totally fresh and went straight to the tutorial. And the tutorial, while it does explain about 5th health cells, it primarily kind of advocates for 4 health cells. So it's potentially how we're seeing that difference there. And I don't know, we'll have to see based on the results of this race, maybe who has the better strategy here.
So we're getting some updates about, we've had some pre-race discussion with the runners, and Fant apparently, he says that he's doing a little bit better than yesterday. He's not feeling ill anymore, so that's good for him. Cheese Lover, on the other hand, he sounds like he's extremely nervous. He mentioned that he's had to use the restroom several times in the past hour. So that's a pretty common theme, I think, in this tournament, is a lot of runners, seeing their first either serious competitive action or even participating in something that is just something that they're very passionate and nervous about, right?
Yeah, well, and Cheese still has the chance to play the spoiler here in his group, rather, not in this specific match necessarily. Although he could also in this match, I believe. If Cheese were to lose the next two matches and Fant wins this one, then Cheese will be taking fourth in his group. Whereas if Fant loses this match, he'll be taking fourth in the group. So it's important for Cheese on that end. But on top of that, even though Cheese is probably more expected to win this match, he can potentially help play the spoiler if he really improves and does well and beats Brynhold, the currently poised first seed. So Brynhold will still take first seed in that case, but if he shakes Brynhold up, gets in his head, they get in Discord, start trash talking during the run or something, man, then Brynhold could potentially have a worse run and drop his overall seeding going in the bracket. Probably not what we'll be seeing, but
probably
I love it. I want to see the competition, man. I want the rivalries to be formed.
Indeed. I mean that's why
who's Team Roos and who's Team Terra. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's why we play the races, right? We don't just decide them on paper. We play the races.
Absolutely.
And we are about to be playing this race as it has started on SRL. We're going to see it show up on the stream shortly, and we'll get it synced up.
Syncing up now, and here we go. Looks like both runners 12 seconds in. So Fant does have a death in his PB to wall jump, so it's not something he's unfamiliar with. Not that any runner of this game is unfamiliar with deaths to wall jump, but I'm sure it's not something that he wants to repeat here. But if he has I don't know if he has a splits open or not. It's certainly possible, and if he does, then maybe he'll get a big boost of confidence going into wall jump with potentially a minute lead if he doesn't take a death here.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that goes, as both of them are getting started with the standard set of stuff. This first minute of the game, pretty much always the same for everyone. Cheese is gonna go for taunting the Rhino, while his Fant just crouches near the wall and backflips over it. Different strats there for the fight that have absolutely no bearing on the amount of time it takes.
I like the backflip.
Sign.
Backflips there are cooler, man. I like the backflip out of Fant there.
I assume theoretically there's some task level of movement you can do where you perfectly time a jump such that you lose none of your horizontal speed as you go through the crumbling rock wall. But a task would be able to do that, and a human just can't tell the difference, so it's whatever.
Yeah, and that's the goal we see every time you see a runner kind of do that jump towards the wall is trying to keep as much of their horizontal speed as they can. But like you said, it's kind of just a crapshoot. You just try to guess when you think you'll save the most amount of time and just go for it. Fant's taking a lot of damage right now on his way over to the first keystone. Hopefully he gets a health drop here or really manages his health well.
Well, he's at 1 health right now. He hasn't gotten a drop yet. Cheese is at, I believe, 2. But he is coming into the bramble wall, and so is Fant. Going to keep a close eye on that. Cheese takes a damage boost. He must have been at 3, actually, given that damage boost. Fant dodges the slime shots, both coming in for the keystone. We're going to see how their health looks for this ghost door.
Yeah,
Cheese able to take the boost. Fant going to have to back off. He takes the XP as well, and he's able to go through. So a little bit of a scary time for Fant, but he's able to move on through the ghost door.
Yeah, he did get the 1 health drop from the bramble wall, as was mentioned and stuff. He did actually kill an extra bramble on his way through that wall, so his experience is likely to be higher. I hope he took note of that and kind of knows how to fix that if he's worried about it, or if he's leveling up on the way out normally, then maybe he'll level up on the way in, which won't really be too big of an issue, but is something that's just worth keeping in mind, and I'm really hoping Fant saw it there.
Well, one of the interesting things about the early game is that everyone kind of has a slightly different way of managing their XP. Looks like Cheese is checking his XP right now just to be sure that he's at where he wants to be, and he's going to keep the UI up for a moment. Fant does not appear to be checking, so I'm going to guess he is moving according to his existing XP route. Either that, or maybe he doesn't have one and he just does whatever. You never know.
He checked it just before leveling up too, and the main thing to me was that when he killed the brambles, he damage boost through the bramble wall right before the level up, but he was a little close to picking up an extra experience there, and I think he was actually 1 experience away from leveling up. So maybe a bit lucky, maybe perfectly planned out, but it's definitely good that he decided to damage boost through that bramble wall instead of killing it. But looks like both of them got to wall jump, no problems.
Yep, and Cheese making his way out with a slight advantage right now, but nothing too significant. He is navigating that scary little section perfectly fine. Did not have any problems with Trojan Log. Fant is able to do the same as well, so no issues there. You definitely want to be able to make that platforming happen cleanly. Just feels good to get that. It's kind of the first really challenging platform of the game, so getting that under your belt feels good.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where Glades becomes a heavy reset point for any runner, as with a lot of speed games, the first split or two does. But it's also one that you can feel very satisfied in your movement about if you've started to kind of work on it and improve it. A lot of small things you could do here and there. I know you personally, Vuligin, are someone who's focused a lot of time on your early game to get some of the lowest possible wall jump times you can while still getting 4 health cells. And I'm sure it must feel good whenever you do get that nice big time save.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, when you end up with a PB that has one of those good early games in it, you start running against it and you start with your PB is a 322 wall jump, and you are just always going to lose time every single attempt.
Well, you don't want a PB with it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. So Cheese able to make it inside Blackroot Burrows with his save anywhere skip. He takes a little damage there. He's drawing little circles on his screen with his mouse, just trying to draw our attention to little things, which is always appreciated. Fant is also making his way in. He took a little bit more time lost on the way there, but still keeping close behind. Cheese is navigating back over the first spike pit of terror. And
that was actually terrifying because Cheese almost dropped off of the second platform on the way back, and because he took the hit from the spikes before, I didn't catch his health coming into Blackroot Burrows, but even if he had been at full health, he would have died to the spikes below after taking the damage on the way in. So yeah, well, he's good now.
Couple damage for Fant though. Second pit of terror. He is able to make it across. He's at the lasers now. He's going to just hold this next cycle. He may still be able to... Ooh, he played a little cautious there, though.
Oh, and then tried to make it up on the last laser. Unfortunate for Fant.
Yeah, I think that might have been a little bit of a panic play there where he just... He compensated the wrong way, and that's one of those things that you'll get with experience, and unfortunately he just wasn't ready to deal with the third laser the right way.
Yeah, and here we go again. He's taking damage one more time, but it looks like he's doing a better job with the cycles this time.
Yep, he read the lasers properly this time. No problems for him. He's going to miss a cycle, but, I mean, on top of the death, that doesn't make that huge of a difference.
Yeah, it's definitely... I think it's one of those things where he really wanted to try to make the cycle while he still had a chance at it at the beginning, and make sure especially that he didn't lose 2. And unfortunately, that death just really wasn't worth it. Certainly miss all the cycles you need to avoid a death to that top laser there.
Indeed. Cheese... able to get to the orb drop, which is very slow for him. Thanks, game. But he is putting it in the monument. He's going to come out with around a 740 dash. And Fant is just coming into the second room. So it's going to be around a 40-second deficit, which we will find out more about shortly when Fant also gets to the dash tree. We'll have a clear comparison.
That's speedrunning for you, man. You can have a 3-hour-long run that has 1 second of RNG in it, and the runners will always be mad when you lose that 1 second of randomness. But it's not something to worry too much about. Fant may or may not save time on the random orb drop here. We'll see as Cheese picks up the dash.
He gets a slow one as well. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So now that he's got dash, Cheese, of course, going to move along at a pretty brisk pace. He is heading up to do his Frankie walk, where he's going to drag this Frankie across the terrain and up to an energy door. It costs 4 energy. He's going to drop his 2 into it, kill the Frankie, level up from his XP, drop 2 more energy in there. And this trick, this is one of the more consistent tricks once you've learned it, but for a newer runner, this is a very difficult strat. And I think it might help Cheese the fact that you also do this. Oh, you don't actually do this in any percent, do you?
You don't, but he still has been, running longer, playing the game longer. This is something that I definitely had a lot of issues with when I was first learning the game, and Fant is now well past the first learning, but is still pretty close to that stage. So we're not seeing a problem there from Cheese, but here comes the Death Gauntlet now.
Indeed, he is able to scale the wall under the Frankie. Always a scary moment there. So at this bramble section, this is a little bit scary as well. If you touch those brambles, it's 1 damage each, which can quickly add up. But he's able to get on top of the Crusher. Quick miss there. But he's all right. Wow. And he is able to get to the energy cell and drops his safety save.
Thank you, Cheese. Thank you for dropping that save. That was terrifying. I mean,
indeed, a great recovery by Cheese.
Yeah, great on him to be able to notice what was about to happen and not hit the brambles down there, because they had the high potential to spell death for him. Fant taking his turn now, and man, Cheese, just don't give us heart attacks like that. Just dash off the thing, man. Dash off the Crusher.
Cheese went for the early Grotto cycle and was not quite able to get it, so he played the little waiting game. 8-second difference that will, help Fant a little bit. He was also at full HP, so he took 3 damage to set up his Ghost Door. Fant coming in under the Frankie as well. Very scary moment there with the Crusher, but he's able to recover from that. Kills the brambles from a nice safe distance. He's able to get on top of the Crusher and make it to the energy cell the first time, so no problem for him.
I thought for a moment there he wasn't going to. It looked a little close on his dash glide, but he made it through no problem. So not too much time, but a little bit of time picked up there for him. And I think he will probably go for the early cycle here, even if he's not quite certain of the setup. Yeah, now it looks like
something like it. But
yeah, not too familiar with the setup, but has seen plenty of other people do it. And that's not a bad way to learn some of the tricks in the game. Especially, I think Kuro Cutscene Skip is one that is kind of just, if you've seen a lot of people do it, you could just try to replicate what they do. And it's not the worst idea in the world, especially when you don't lose any time for going for it and missing it, rather.
Fant with a slightly sketchy Ghost Door there. He was able to get on top of the Crusher and take the death that he needed. So a little bit funky, but he is able to move on to double jump and avoids getting crushed by the Frankie. That's always nice. Cheese making his way up the rock fall. He gets his first save rekindle in order to skip the initial drop, so there's no rocks falling now. He's going to keep climbing. This platforming is actually fairly tricky, isn't it, Hops?
Yeah, it's pretty. As we're seeing right now from Cheese. Yeah, it's not the easiest platforming by far. Surprising, Cheese actually kind of got out of the woods and then fell back down. So maybe it was just a little too excited that he did it really well and had to fall back down. The lead was growing for Cheese by a little bit, but it seems now that might help Fant catch up. But Cheese is just about even with his PB now. He was a little bit ahead at double jump, and I can imagine that fall probably lost him just a little bit of time there.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely some of those kind of mistakes tend to be in runners PBs in the in that 38 range or higher, of course. So Fant probably also has a fair bit of that in his PB. And so you never really know exactly how much slop is okay before they're actually losing time. So Cheese still has a good chance to be able to, with bigger, more juicy platforming time saves, he still has a good chance to Fant doing some interesting platforming here just to avoid that stupid jump onto that overhang.
Not a bad idea. I mean, we just saw Cheese flub up, not quite on that, but right after it. And I mean, it's certainly not a bad idea from Fant. He had a beautiful grotto skip, which I know is something that kind of troubled him early on when he was first learning the game. Cheese made a nice adaptation there after missing another dash glide.
Indeed. He is, but he does take some damage there. He's going to opt to push the block. This is actually, if you're early enough to get to this spinning saw blade segment, it's a little slower to push the block, but he opts to go for that. It's a little safer in his mind, and he takes the safety save. Never a bad play. 4 seconds to get a health refill. And then he takes some damage anyway.
Yeah,
and he's still going to take this damage boost, so he's going to be at 1 HP going into Ginso, and that's never a recipe for success. You really don't want to necessarily risk that. With the spinning the mouse around, I'm not sure if he's trying to communicate to us that I'm really scared I'm at 1 HP, but we'll see.
Well, it's also to know, like, having that boulder there kind of alters your movement on the way back out as you're entering Mount Horror later in the game. It's not something that's probably going to cause too many issues, but for a runner who is very, very used to the movement that they use and has committed it all to muscle memory, it's something that could throw you off more than you'd expect. We'll have to see if that happens for Cheese much later in the run.
Indeed. It may just be the case that he always pushes the block, in which case it would be in his muscle memory to deal with it. He is sending Ginso pretty cleanly. He's going to take it safe on this Gamer here. He's not going to risk it. Fant is opting to pull the block. He does get the crouch dash in there. And Cheese is going to drop his safety save. So he made it through probably the scariest section in all of Ginso, if not one of the top ones. And Fant is making his way to the door now.
Now, Cheese actually missed the rekindle here for this cutscene skip. So Fant's catching up a bit of time on top of the better boulder movement. So Fant looking to have a pretty nice Ginso segment for himself compared to Cheese. And if Cheese keeps making, just one or two small mistakes here and there, maybe Fant can kind of narrow this lead down.
Indeed. That said, Cheese is ahead by the tune of 1 minute and around 6 seconds right now at the Enter Ginso segment. So kind of growing a little bit, but at the same time, there's room here for a thing to happen of some sort. We don't necessarily always want a thing to happen, but sometimes it's going to.
Well, in our late game will give us really the potential for the multi-minute deaths. Not that we want to see them, but it is something that could happen. Cheese getting a little trolled by the final phase of the mini boss there. It looks like Fant is having a pretty good Ginso so far. Cheese is actually, when entering Ginso, was 5 seconds behind his PB. So PB certainly still within the realm of possibility for both these runners.
Indeed, and as mentioned, Fant, has that wall jump death in his PB, and in this one, this run right here, he's also got the big Blackroot death. So very decent chance that both are still within reach of their PBs. It'll be awkward to compare for Fant for a little bit, but Cheese will continue to see how he's doing.
Yeah, and he's picking up Bash now, 15:37 time, perfectly respectable there. And now we're really going to start to see how clean his movement is with this keyboard and mouse setup, as opposed to when Fant comes in with the controller. And she's looking to have some nice dashes there to avoid some extra bashes.
Indeed. He is navigating this puzzle redirect section projectile thing. And no problem for him with that. And he even get the double bash to save just a couple seconds there. Fant, he's had a lot of mini boss spawns. Not as few as he would have liked necessarily, but he does get through the mini boss. He will be making his way through the key collection section here, where Cheese is in the subsequent key collection section. He's going for his dupe. He opts to inch forward, and he does drop into the right spot to take the death while still having the keys in the door. So good job by him.
Yeah, I was a bit worried for a moment there. It almost looked like he nudged off too far, but worked out perfectly for him. Fant's making his way to Bash now, and he's looking at almost a minute ahead of his PB right now. Again, we mentioned that wall jump death, so he must have caught up even more time to offset his Blackroot Burrows death.
Indeed, a 16:54 Bash for him. We'll see how that compares, as our friends in the truck are going to help us out. Cheese taking a slightly different strategy on this mini boss. He opts to do the first two projectile bashes from the ground, and he also
10 experience.
He did, and we're going to see if that's going to come into play. Most XP routes have some amount of leeway for this, and he is double checking. He needs 47. Yep, and so he swirls his mouse around the screen. He knows he was slightly off, but it's not a huge deal. That's around, like 5 or 6 seconds that you have to spend to fix that, but it's much better than missing the core skip entirely.
Yeah, definitely good that he checked, because that could have been a lot worse if he didn't. I'm glad he noticed. It's kind of easy to potentially miss that you didn't get all the experience there. I have to imagine with that mini boss kill, he just had a little bit of a rough time getting on the wall early, and thus came up with some nice double bash backup strats. However, that's the kind of thing that you can't do as easily on controller. So as Fant comes up to the same thing, whoa, it almost
jump.
Almost dies.
I've never seen that before. He does manage to get the key dupe. He had a very weird jump that just happened there. She's having a bit of trouble at the beginning of this game. He is going to be down to 1 HP. That is, again, it draws an angry mouse swish from him. He's going for this projectile strat up to this wall, which actually isn't necessarily even faster. Oh. And he does pull that off. Fanta's going in for his Ghost Aura. Cheese climbing the projectiles here. Is able to make it up. These spikes deal enough damage to kill him. These projectiles deal enough damage to kill him. This Frankie does enough damage to kill him.
Oh, these bashes are coming out way too late.
Oh, a little bit of a flub on that double jump, and he's still recovered. Up to the final lanterns. He does not drop into the spikes. He's able to make the escape of Ginso. So, good job by Cheese. That was extremely tense the whole way through.
I was losing my mind because not only was that happening to Cheese, but Fant must not have taken the damage boost up the wall on his way back to the Keystone area after doing the key dupe. That takes a death there, unfortunately, but not too bad a one with the safety save. But he actually took a hit from the spikes, so I thought he was dead, while Cheese was also almost dead. So I was just freaking out both ways, and
both of these runners giving us some mini heart attacks here, but fortunately everything's going all right. Cheese is making his way up to Stomp. He manages to cause that platform to swing quite a lot. Again, you see the mouse movement as he's upset because the spitter worm did not shoot there, just due to the platform being weird.
Well, Cheese is used to having to nudge these platforms and cause them to move as being an any percent runner. So I'm sure that's all he was going for there. And if you don't get that joke, I encourage you to watch the any percent run, because man, is it something. But we're not going to go too in depth to that today.
Fanta's making his way through the escape now as Cheese leaves Stomp. He was not able to get the spider shot redirect from the first portal, so he is able to use the spitter worms. He goes through the left teleporter, which is not at all slower due to, oh goodness, he's having a little trouble, but he manages to get a second bounce.
Yeah, it's unfortunately slower when you miss the cycles.
Yeah, but I think he's going to take, at this point, not dying. He's going to get this projectile, no problem, still not getting the water quite touching him. Each time the water touches you, it does 1 damage and causes knockback, so it's really, really annoying if you get hit by the water. He goes to the left wall, gives it a little love, as Trojan likes to say, and he is out of the escape.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Cheese has had a bit cleaner movement now. I shouldn't have said anything. Commentator's curse. He took a few more damage there, but Cheese was 13 seconds ahead of his PB at Stomp. So he got the Kuro cutscene skip last race, but he's gonna really want to get it this race.
Oh, okay.
That's why I always set up that with you should always potentially set that up with hyperspeed, because it's a really cool trick.
Nailed
it's also really dumb of me, but Cheese shown us that he can recover from that no problem.
He also was able to nail his hero cutscene skip, and here he's going for his 5th energy, 5th health cell, which is the kind of the old school choice for having a 5th health, and it works totally fine. There's an alternative that gives you the health earlier in the game. He's also going for the 5th energy here, so this is interesting by Cheese, going for 5 and 5.
Yeah, it's something that, again, we're probably not seeing from Fant, and so he'll have some potential time to catch up there, but Cheese must really want those safety saves. I mean, we've seen some kind of a little bit of sloppy movement and stuff.
Oh man!
Wow, that was an extra long stomp.
Yeah, he had a scary moment getting off of that spike wall, but fortunately he's all right. As Cheese is coming into Charge Flame, and Fant is just now setting up for his Drainless, so he will be doing an underwater stomp, which is a little bit of a glitch in order to skip having to drain this water.
His save is really far to the left. I'm a little worried about this one. Looks like he's good though.
Yeah, he compensated by going a little bit higher for his initial setup, and that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that was a nice catch. That is something that's not necessarily easy to think about on the spot.
Yeah, and I think it's likely one of those things where, a more novice runner hits that mistake at some point, and, rather than just being like, oh, I did it wrong, I'll just figure out the correct way to do it, they're like, well, how do I compensate if I make this particular mistake?
Absolutely, especially when you're learning this game with a racing mindset, because I do know Fant learned this game specifically to join the Ori tournament, and so maybe a lot of the time whenever he failed something, he wasn't going, oh, I'm just bad, I'll learn the right way, I'm going to learn a backup. Unfortunately, you can't back up the Kuro cutscene skip.
You could technically reload the game and retry the skip, and if you get it the second time, it saves 4 seconds overall, but Fant not feeling that confident, so he opts to just watch the cutscene for 17 seconds.
Well, he was 50-50 in the tournament so far on Crow cutscene skips, so going to be reducing that average for himself a little bit, but not too surprising there. His position looked pretty close to good, but slightly off.
Cheese having a little bit of a tough time with that bird at the air stomp cell, but he is able to get through it. He's now working on fast stompless. It's going to be weird bash there, but right. Cheese does this safety save before going for fast stompless, which is not a bad thought. He stomps directly into spikes. I think actually that was intentional. I think he decided his shot was not good, and rather than retry while he was already dashing down, he just killed himself.
That's certainly possible. This next shot looks a bit low. We'll see if it hits, and it doesn't. He may go for it again here.
Oh, he is. Cheese does have... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Villager.
He does have around a 2-minute lead, so he has some of his time to give up, but I'm not sure he actually knows that.
Well, on top of that, because he made that safety save, it is faster for him to try it again if he gets a second try, and he does. He nailed it. So knowing that is really smart for Cheese, and really good thing that he actually did go for it a second time, and since he did get it. It's, of course, the risky move, like you said, with the Crow cutscene skip. You're having to do that hard skip one more time, so it can still potentially save you time, but it could also potentially lose you a lot more time. Cheese not letting that happen to him, though.
Fant currently having some issues with his stream. We're going to be taking a look at that with our crew behind the scenes. But meanwhile, we're going to see Cheese learning charge dash, and he took the save on top of the spirit wall as well, which is never a bad plan to get your health back before you have to go into Sorrow Pass.
Oh, unfortunately missed that rocket jump there. Cheese has been dancing around his PB like crazy this run. He was 3 seconds ahead of it at Feather, and we're not quite certain, what kind of time there is to save in the Sunstone split. But that failed rocket jump certainly can't help. Yeah,
but that, of course, is always the thing. If you are able to string together, one of the big differences between a runner with a better PB versus a runner with a slower one, of course, is if you're able to string those things together.
Oh, jeez.
I think he's going to take the intentional death here and just get back to the top. Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble following that bird up. Now he gets the double bash. He's able to lure the bird in. Charge dash off of it, no problem getting into Sorrow the second time. So, good job by him to get it on the second try. We're still having some slight issues on Fant's side. Looks like he went for fast stompless and didn't get it, is the last thing we're able to see there. So he's going to make his way back up and get the norm. Oh, he took a death. Ouch.
Yeah, I can't tell if... I think after that death, he actually opted not to go for fast stompless again. I think he didn't rekindle after missing it the first time, and that's kind of unfortunate. Really not what you want to see there, but it could have been a lot worse. He could have landed the spider shot and not gotten the ability cell. So unfortunately, Fant had some time to catch up in Valley and on his way to Valley, and unfortunately it looked like some of his movement was about the same as Cheese's, so probably not going to be letting that lead stay too close.
Oh, Cheese took some damage from that frog there. He has 5 health, so it's not as bad, but then he also got a very short rocket jump, so he is floating slowly up to the top. And he does collect the XP in his level up.
Certainly a lot better than that rocket jump and throwing him into lasers, though. So really good that he actually got enough speed out of it to avoid them. That was quite close from him, though.
Fant is pulling in on Feather now. He will be picking that up shortly as Cheese is picking up Sunstone. Again, it is around a 2-ish minute deficit right now. But you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been seeing the cleanest of runs from either of these runners, so it's certainly not out of the bag for Fant. However, he would really have to clean up his play at the moment, because it's been about as sloppy as Cheese's with just a few bigger time losses, and he really needs to kind of just tighten up, focus, and kind of pull himself back into this. I'm hoping the internet issues that we've been seeing from him aren't something that are kind of affecting his mindset. It's certainly something that could be. It hurts a lot of runners during streams, so hopefully he can kind of clean it up here, and he'd still have to rely on Cheese to make some mistakes, but it's not over for him.
Indeed. Cheese has just picked up charge jump, and he's making his way out, which of course is very dangerous. This exit is terrifying. He takes the save, takes some damage there. That's why he got the 5 health. Fant has made it into Sorrow. He got his Sorrow Bash off, and he's opting not to do the rocket jump, which means he's having some troll from that bird.
Yeah, he actually he got in with the second try Sarabash, and he attempted the rocket jump, but actually ran smack into the bird. He didn't quite cancel his charge dash in time, which is how we make these rocket jumps work. And it was pretty smart of him not dying there. Like, that was actually a really easy place to die, to fall back into spikes or let the bird hit you again. And very clean play to be able to catch that up, but it's not quite going to help him in the lead to be able to be making these kinds of mistakes.
So Cheese was able to, Cheese takes 2 safety saves on the way back to Misty, which is not a bad play because he took 4 damage from the spikes on the way out of charge jump. And so now he has dropped 2 saves. He got back to 5, took 1 damage, so he's at 4 right now. And that is fine HP level to be at. If you have taken 5 HP and you're in Misty, you're definitely not going to complain about having 4.
Yeah, and I think Cheese is out of energy now after that save. I think he might have had a flub with his energy. I could be mistaken, but that will give Fant some potential movement like increases for himself. But he's having trouble with this frog who does not want to let him rocket jump. Oh, is Fant still going to go for it? Of course he is.
He does. No problem, and that is a much better rocket jump than Cheese got. Maybe that'll make a slight difference for him, but I think really Fant at this point is really counting on Cheese to make some mistakes. And right now, you know, Cheese he's making some mistakes, but he's got the 5 health, he's got the 5 energy, he has lots of, you know, ability to keep himself under control, and he seems to be doing that.
Yeah, Cheese isn't having the fastest of Misties here. He's not throwing a lot of charge dashes, but he's playing it very safe and very controlled. Everything in Misty so far has looked very controlled from him. So I don't expect him to stop dropping safety saves with that 5th energy, and it's going to be really hard at this point for Fant to catch up because there's not too much of this run left.
That's true. And Cheese opting, as you just said, he is opting to make more safety saves. He put 1 down right after that keystone there. I'm going to wager we'll see another one at the next keystone. He did take a spike hit, but he is seemingly recovered mentally. That's always... Yep.
Do deal 3 damage though, and the 5 health won't help him, you know, avoid an extra hit here unless it's from something that only does 1 damage, which there's not too many things in Misty that only do 1 damage, so he has to be really careful not to hit spikes like those, and
Indeed.
That's unfortunate for him.
But that, of course, is exactly why he's got the safety save there. He still has the advantage of being past climb. Fant is making his way out of Sara now. He has collected charge jump. He's going to pick up the ability cell as well, and he's going to make his way out. But Cheese being ahead of him by an entire segment is going to make a pretty big difference. So there would need to be another few of those by Cheese. And right now, he's mostly avoiding them.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see this lead change anymore. It's still technically on the table, but it would be a pretty miraculous comeback for Fant at this point. However, Fant does still have the consolation PB to look at, because at charge jump, he is only 12 seconds behind his PB, and I think he might be running with his splits open. So hopefully we're going to be seeing some clean play out of him. I don't expect him to go for any safety strats that he wouldn't normally go for, just based on knowing Fant personally. And hopefully they'll let him PB here.
Cheese took a rough bit of damage there on that spike, or on that spitter worm, but he managed to get through it. It was a very interesting quick kill there. There was some combination of boom, 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 and I don't know, some pow and some whiz, and
I think
kapow.
That's the slower version of boom, 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 where normally you would want to actually charge dash into the second jump shoot shark, and it would just die from that. But if you're a bit slow with your inputs, sometimes you can't reflect all the shots properly, and that mortar worm will actually have just a fraction of health left. And you can either shoot it with sign, or you can stomp the ground. And I think that's what he went for there, was just shooting it with sign. So I don't think it was any kind of, you know, mistake from Cheese. I just think he does a slightly different strategy.
That certainly could be, as he is making his way on the teleporter back to... Oh man,
Rough death for Fant.
Indeed, that Baneling is not playing around, and he even deals 6 damage, so you can't even like sniff his explosion. Cheese made his way into Blackroot Burrows, and he's going to be going for Light Burst. As you're saying, I don't see a huge likelihood that the lead's going to change at this point, but Fant is certainly doing his best, and he's trying to keep pace at least with his PB.
Oh, and Fant got really lucky there that he actually bashed off of the frog's projectile and not the frog, and he got lucky that the game just decided to let the frog die and let Ori live. But he's not taken any safety saves yet, and I'm worried he might not take any here. And being at 2 health, that's going to be very sketchy. That was a ridiculously risky charge dash, and Fant's really impressing me here with this movement.
Unfortunately, sorry to interrupt, Hobbs, but she's working on getting up to light burst, and he just charge dashes twice into the side of the spikes. He's going for the approach from the right side, and he gets the Yoka cycle on the second try at least. But he's going for this approach from the right side, but it's just not quite in range to do the thing. He's going to do the spinning laser room now. He jumps off the jump pad. He makes it across barely.
He's trying to give us some heart attacks, man. And meanwhile, Fant luckily placed the safety save because he took 2 deaths immediately after. So give us heart attacks in the other way, where at least for him, he dropped that safety save because I was worried he was going back to climb.
No. Cheese is watching the cutscene. He leveled up his ability too early. This is 70 seconds.
This is the kind of thing that Fant needed. It's still not going to close the gap. It's not going to close the gap for him, but this is what he needed. This is the window of opportunity that is slightly a crack open for him. And if he can have really clean play here on out, and if Cheese lets this get to him and has a lot of trouble on his way to Horu or with the escape or with the frame perfect door warp, Fant could potentially come back here. It's still unlikely, but man, that is the best thing that could have happened for Fant.
Indeed, and that's exactly, the mindset is exactly the thing. It's not even that this is going to turn the game for Fant. It's that Cheese could possibly, based on having this happen, it's 70 seconds. He's still watching the cutscene. He could easily just be tilting like crazy right now, just thinking like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that happened. It's so easy for that to happen. And if that, if you let that get to you, as he is having some trouble just hitting the tree there, you see his mouse going crazy. He is not happy. Fant with a missed teleport.
Yeah, that's not what. It's definitely not what you want to see from him. He's also gonna have to take a save from having no energy. Fant, on top of kind of. Okay, that was weird. He didn't save there for a moment. Sorry, I got flustered. But on top of not really necessarily being able to win this race, I mean, there's still some crazy things that could happen from Cheese, but Fant needs to try to get under a 39:40 time in order to avoid the preliminary rounds in the elimination bracket. It's unlikely to happen at this point. I don't really think there's enough time left in the run for him to potentially save that much time on his PB. However, at this point, maybe he could try to take out Cheese if Cheese makes a big mistake.
I don't know, we're going to see, but Cheese is fast approaching Mount Horu. He has managed to hold on to around a minute or so, or maybe more, of his lead. But you never know with Door Warp. Fant is coming into his cutscene skip here. Cheese making his way towards Horu Fields. Fant just getting a little bit trolled by that bird there. He's having trouble setting up his save anywhere. He gets it now, and...
He's good.
Oh, that was a little bit late. I'm a little bit worried.
No, I think he's fine. Yeah, to what it looks like he's good. What Village is referencing is that if you make that save too late by leveling up that ability, then you actually can be warped to a totally different location, or at the very least still have to watch the cutscene and not be able to see Ori, even though you have control of Ori. But luckily, Fant just was playing it extra safe and made sure that he saw the screen begin to fade out before doing it. We're on Door Warp now for Cheese.
Not first try. We're going to see if this is going to get to him. Fant is still around a minute and a half behind, so he would have to have a catastrophically bad Door Warp for Fant to be able to make up this gap, and possibly some escape deaths. He gets a third try. That death there does not matter, fortunately, because you still respawn back at the same spot. So Cheese is able to move on to the final escape. Fant is going into the Indiana Jones segment, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late, basically.
It probably will be, but if Cheese has 2 really late escape deaths or something, it could turn around. Unlikely to happen. However, as you mentioned, it's generally pretty locked and loaded once you get to the final escape. But Fant's not going to let that deter him. He's going to do his best move, and there's one death from Cheese.
Indeed, starting out just a little bit off. takes some damage there. He's just, his movement's slightly off. You can tell that this must have gotten to him just a little bit. He has to wait for the lava fall here. Fant is approaching the door to Horu, dude. Oh my goodness.
And Fant's still on PB pace too, so he's not going to let up at this point. He wants to nail that PB down. So he's going to be playing as focused as he possibly can. Whereas Cheese, as you mentioned, his PB's off the table. He might be worried about this race at the moment.
Fant's coming to the end here.
4 charge dashes.
Almost done. He is climbing up the left wall. There's no fish strats for Cheese. And he is able to make it to the final spot. And he will only have to hold right now. He's going to come in with around 40 minutes. Fant, PB, still on the table. He is 47 seconds ahead. And his PB has a bad door warp.
Yeah, well, he didn't quite get it first try here, but I mean, he could potentially still save time on his PB. Not within 2 tries either, so he's looking worse than the average, but he only is barely worse than the tournament average there.
Indeed, that is great for him. That is going to be a big improvement over his PB as well, so he will almost certainly get a big PB here.
He also had a PB in his first race. So this is kind of what I'm talking about with Fant, where, you know, some of these races we've been seeing kind of the one big PB from a runner, or right before the race, you know, just within the last couple weeks. Fant has just been PBing and getting slow improvements over and over and over again. So this could potentially be the second race of this tournament, 2 out of 3 races in which he's improved his personal best time ever.
Ooh, he's going to avoid the lava fall there. He doesn't want to take a death here. He's just going to play it safe enough to get through. He's got 1 energy left, which he is going to use to break this wall. There will be no fish strats.
I hope he noticed that, because Fant does normally go for him. He turned the UI back on.
Yeah,
he's now familiar with it. I hope he knows the backup, because he does actually normally go for fish strats. But I'm assuming he's seen it enough in this tournament, if not done it himself, to be able to know how to get around this.
Here he goes. He does get the jump correctly. Kuro does not spawn.
That boulder was awfully close. It seemed unusually close.
Fortunately, not too big of a problem. Cheese finishes with a 40-minute time on the dot. Disregard the 0.6. And Fant is going to come in with around a 41:40. That is going to be a pretty significant PB for him. So congratulations to both runners. Cheese managing to hold on despite quite a lot of things to pull out this victory.
Yeah, this, I mean, Cheese didn't quite give the run he was hoping for, I'm sure. But it is still going to improve his average race time, so he's got to be happy about that. And Fant, on the flip side, he just PB'd by almost 2 minutes. So that's kind of approaching some of the biggest PBs we've had in this tournament. So, I mean, both runners, Cheese walking away with the victory, but both are going to be walking away pretty happy, I think. Maybe Cheese a little bit less so based on his play, but it's still certainly better than his average.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you got to think that Cheese is still working on his confidence in a race situation, but also that with a PB hovering in the 38 range, he must feel like he at least has a shot against Brynhold. And that works 2 ways. On the one hand, it gives him the feeling that maybe I can actually go 2-1 in this group. But then on the other hand, also, crap, I got to like win in order to do that. I have a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah, absolutely. If Cheese does go 2-1 in this group, it's going to be a very interesting result for the group. Fant, unfortunately, goes 0-3 here, so he will be locked into that 4th seed. But if Cheese wins against Brynhold, that'll put 3 runners out of this group in 2-1 who have all beaten each other, if that makes sense. They haven't all beaten each other, but the tiebreakers are in a circle. So I believe it'll be based on average PB time or average race time at that point.
Yeah, and that will actually be a very unusual situation that I'm not looking forward to having to try to figure out the standings on that.
I really hope the technology can do that for us. Challenge.com is going to help us, I'm hoping. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting result one way or another.
Yeah, and I mean, this group has given us some very interesting results so far. Cheese, of course, you know, being the 3 seed versus the 4 seed in this matchup, he takes the quote-unquote expected victory. But, you know, being able to pull that off in this particular manner was somewhat surprising. Of course, Brynhold with the upset over Raziel, which I think no one really expected that necessarily to happen, given Raziel's skill level. But, you know, it did. we're in the world we're in now, and I don't know what to necessarily expect from that last match.
Yeah, it's really shown us how kind of race jitters potentially, or just lack of practice or whatever it is, has shown through in this tournament and really turn the tides of some of these matches. Not quite doing it here. Again, Cheese still the victor. Fant looking at the 4th place out of his bracket, but he's improving his average with this time, being not only the best time he's gotten in the tournament, but the best time he's ever gotten in this game. And hopefully that'll help him out in the overall seeding. And I don't think it's quite letting him out of the prelimination round, the preliminary elimination
that is a
round.
Very interesting contraction you just invented.
What, you haven't heard of a prelimination round? Come on, man.
I mean, we're calling it that now.
We're using it for the rest of this tournament. The prelimination round, man.
Welcome to the plains of justice.
Oh man, I'm sorry. It's almost midnight. Give me a break. But Fant is not going to be out of the prelimination round, but he will hopefully be able to get a little bit better seed in it, because the worse seed you get, the more likelihood you have of going up again. First of all, potentially losing the preliminary round, but after that, of potentially going up against Hetfield's region. And that's not where you want to be. Going up against Hetfield himself, actually.
Indeed.
Unless you're Fant, because he wants to take him out, but he wants it to happen in the finals.
Yeah, that's right. He needs to. Well, unfortunately, his seeding is going to need to be a lot better if he wants to meet Het in the finals. So, because otherwise, he's going to end up in the wrong part of the bracket for that. But I mean, that's exactly the situation that you want to manage. But I think Fant's done fairly well for himself on that, and I think Cheese, he's got his 1 match left. I think he did a pretty decent job improving in terms of his reaction and his handling of his own nerves. I think he did a pretty solid job in this race, improving upon the first one. And I think we'll see in the upcoming race against Brynhold that he'll be able to just a little more improve yet again. And we'll see whether that results in possibly an upset. You never know.
Yeah, definitely. Anything could happen. I mean, both of the matches we just saw in the last 2 hours were a lot closer than we expected them to be. So if Cheese just tightens up his play here and there, and Brynhold isn't quite on the top of his game, then we could easily see an upset there.
For sure. So that is going to conclude it for us for tonight. We are going to be coming back at you on Tuesday afternoon Eastern Standard Time with a couple more races. As mentioned, we are kind of coming to the end of the group stage, so we've kind of got the last stragglers in each group have to finish their matches. On Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got Chicken Supreme taking on Snoopy MK Wii. It's going to be only Snoopy's second match, but it's going to be Chicken's final one. And I think that has the potential to be a pretty close match. In Chicken's 2 races so far, he's got a 40-38 and a 41-38. And Snoopy has taken a 40-42. So I think that has a decent chance to be pretty tight.
Yeah, I'm doubly excited about that match because it's actually in my group. And while I've already locked my place in it, I'm really excited to see how the rest of that group shakes out.
Agreed. And after that race, there's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Terra21, our good friend from Scotland, is going to be taking on Skyfo from France. And that'll be Skyfo's second match of the tournament. Being the lowest seed in his group, of course, you're going to expect that Terra would be the one to take that match. But as always, it's Ori and the Blind Forest. Any death can kind of change the game, or maybe you will decide you want to watch a 70-second cutscene. So we will.
I hope somebody clipped that, man. We gotta get some clips of the cutscene in our little video that I'm sure we're going to be putting together at the end.
I'm looking forward to that highlight reel, dude. It'll be so good.
It's going to be amazing. Highlight reel. Those are the words I was looking for. It's almost midnight. Close this out, Vulogen. What's coming up next? Speed Gaming.
I hear that we've got some Mega Man 3 coming up. I'm not sure who's competing, but you should all stick around because Mega Man 3 is an awesome speed game, and I'm sure that's going to be a terrific race. I believe they're also in their group stage currently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there have been 2 Mega Man tournaments, one from the X series and one from the Classic series going on Speed Gaming while we've been doing this one, and both of them we've been kind of seeing before and after our runs a lot, and they've been really great. So definitely tune into that.
Yep. As for us, that's going to do it. J-Hobbs, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and we hope that you guys will continue to keep coming back for more Ori. In the meantime, stay tuned for Mega Man 3. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.